So how does someone who lives and breathes code, a true technical expert, make the leap to becoming a global leader in charge of hundreds of people? Well, today we're going to deconstruct the career of Martin Osterberg, a senior director at Riot Games, to find that exact blueprint.
And this quote, right from his own profile, this is everything. On a journey to uncover better ways to craft software that matters. You see, that's not just a line on a resume, it's his mission statement. It is the North Star that has guided every single move in his career, and it's our first big clue.
You know, when you first look at a career path like this, it can seem kind of like a tangled mess of different jobs and companies. But, as we're about to see, when you start to pull on the threads, a really clear, very deliberate pattern starts to emerge. So let's break it down and find that blueprint.
We're going to follow his journey in 4 acts. First up, we'll look at how he built his foundation, going from coder to coach. Then, we'll see how he started leading the agile way. After that, we'll dive into what it means to be directing a gaming scale. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the Osterberg playbook.
Okay, so every great leadership journey has to start with credibility, right? For Martin, that credibility was forged deep in the trenches, writing code. This is where he built that rock-solid expertise that would become the foundation for everything that came next.
So for almost a decade, he was a hands-on developer at some major Swedish companies, just racking up tons of experience. But look closer, the key detail is right here. Even way back then, he was already a team lead and a Scrum Master. He was already obsessed with how the software got built, not just the code itself. And that's the little seed of the leader he was going to become.
And this right here, this is the crucial turning point. I mean, he could have just climbed the normal technical ladder, right? Become a senior architect or something. But instead, he made a very conscious pivot. He decided to stop building the software himself and start building the teams that build the software.
And this pivot was no accident. This wasn't some random job hop. He strategically went after roles as an agile coach at some of the biggest names in tech in Europe. Spotify, King, you name it. This was a focused, deliberate campaign to become a master of a very specific and very valuable niche, building high-performing tech teams. And let's be really clear about what this role meant, especially somewhere like Spotify. This wasn't a step away from leadership, it was just a different kind of leadership. It's all about digging into team dynamics, driving development based on value, and creating these incredible autonomous units that just get stuff done. So, okay, he's absolutely mastered this coaching niche. The big question is, what do you do with that? Well, this is the part of the story where he translates all that influence into formal leadership roles with bigger and bigger responsibilities. His second time around at Spotify is the perfect example of this jump. He went from coaching a whole 60-person department to becoming an engineering manager who is directly on the hook for building Spotify Connect. That's a huge shift from influencing outcomes to actually owning them. And then he takes all that experience over to Riot Games, and his rise is just meteoric. I mean, look at this timeline. In just a few short years, he goes from leading a core tech product to managing production for a huge title like Wild Rift, and then to leading a 100-person team for their flagship game, League of Legends. Wow. And you really can't overstate the impact of that very first role he had at Riot. He said the Riot SDK he led was the key thing that enabled the company to develop and launch multiple games at the same time. Think about that. He didn't just build a piece of software. He built a capability that fundamentally changed Riot's entire trajectory.
All of this brings us to his current role at Riot, where the scale of his responsibility just jumps to a completely different level.
So what does scale really mean in his job today? Well, let's just start with the number of people. He leads operations for a group of about 180 specialists. That's not a team. That's a small army.
And those 180 people? They aren't all in one building. No, they're spread across 5 global locations, from the US all the way to China. That just adds this massive layer of complexity. This isn't just about tech leadership anymore, it's about global operations.
And finally, that global army of 180 people is split across 3 entirely separate product groups. So you've got this massive team spread all over the world working on multiple really complex products. That is what directing at scale really looks like. So, as senior director, his scope is just immense. He's overseeing the core technology that powers Riot's biggest games, but he's also the craft lead, which means he's shaping the entire discipline of technical production for the whole company. He's not just running a team, he's literally defining a role. All right, so after seeing this incredible career path, what's the pattern here? What's the repeatable playbook that we can actually pull from his journey? Let's distill it all down. The playbook really comes down to 3 clear steps. First, build an absolutely unshakable technical foundation. You gotta put in the time. Second, find and totally master a niche that connects technology and people, just like he did with Agile coaching. And third, use that niche to scale your impact by leading others.
And it all comes full circle, right back to that personal mission statement we started with. You can see this guiding principle in every single choice he made, from his early days as an engineer all the way to being a senior director. The goal has always been the same, it's just the scale that has changed.
His journey is just incredible proof that a focused career, one that's driven by a really clear mission, can have a company-altering impact. He literally helped put the S in Riot Games. So the only question left for us is, what will you build?